Okay.
Welcome to the podcast. Thank you.
Whoa.
Hey.
I can hear you, brother. Can the people hear us? Podcast.
Welcome.
Yo,
I should put another
Aubrey.
Put another
Good
break
to
in
see
that tune.
Yeah. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. What's going
Happy
on?
Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Stay off Twitter. Don't watch any news.
Nope. I'm not.
Probably best for your mental health.
Yeah. I'm just eating my food here and sipping on my coffee.
Nice. Let me get down to
wonderful
the reasonable
babies.
level here.
I got the wonderful babies with me today. They're both entranced by Sesame Street, so we'll see how long that lasts for. You know, there's all kinds of deals and stuff going on now. So I actually ordered breakfast delivery. Check this out. This is like corned beef hash and sauce with potatoes. This is seriously breakfast and lunch for me in June. No problem. It was $16. It's weird how cheap and good the food is getting for delivery.
Yeah, I agree. It's almost like the system was broken before, and it takes a weird colon cleanse to get us to like some kind of place where things are priced correctly.
Yeah, can you imagine like delicious meals to your bedroom cheaper than going there? I mean, it's kind of nice.
That's pretty kick-ass.
And they're huge. It's food for me. I mean, I can share it with them. She wants to hear you too. She wants to hear Aubrey. Here, can you say hi?
Hi, June.
Hey, June.
Hey,
Can you say
June.
hi to Aubrey?
It's a voice in your head. Hey.
She's mesmerized. But yeah, this girl still eats pretty well, you know.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
What's going on in the world?
Yeah, man. The news. I still don't have Twitter on my phone. I know we were talking about last time that like I could potentially be following thinkers and getting cool snippets here, but the 280 character thing, I think is just bad for everyone. So I'm not even going to advertise my band on it.
I can see that. Yeah,
I'm
whatever.
Just
I mean,
all
social
over
media.
this.
You know me.
Yeah,
Conflicted
you're not
on
into
it, but I think it does have value. It's like you really have to be vigilant about sort of your like what your inputs are. You know.
Yeah, your mental diet.
Yeah, because obviously Facebook, Twitter, they're designed to addict you.
Agitate and addict. Like
Agitate,
anger
addict,
you
divide.
so that you have to keep fighting. That's like
Yeah.
they figured out that if you get you in a fight, they'll keep you.
Yeah. Conflict sells,
Yeah. Conflict sells. I mean, because we're designed, it's almost we're hijacking because if someone says lion and then you don't look, you're dead.
Right.
So we're trained to say like, look out baboon, look out lion. So everything is a lion. Every Twitter comment is a lion. Hey, June, who's that? Wow.
We've evolved to become pessimists.
There's a few optimists left.
But like in the ancient jungle, you see a rock and you think it's a bear, you survive.
Yeah.
If you see a bear and you think it's a rock, die.
You're dead. Yeah.
So evolution has sort of weeded out the people who are like happy-go-lucky optimists. Hey, that's not a bear. That's not a bear. We're fine.
I've not thought of that. That is an interesting thought you just made there.
So the challenge now is we don't have bears hunting us day to day. So we can become optimists. We just have to try a little harder.
It's like in our song, even when the tigers have all fled, our owner or our masters still continue on carrying weapons.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because the ultimate alpha predator is humans.
Yeah. And you know what the biggest threat to the alpha predator is? Other humans.
Yeah.
Because we're like, yeah, I don't like this alpha predator. They are not doing a great job. Just like June's like, this daddy, I don't know if I approve of all the things he's choosing to do. So I'm going to take his fork and I'm going to suck on it. There we go.
It seems like as much as so many shitty things are happening in the world, there's a lot of creative thinking happening because people are forced to sort of reimagine their lives and question things that were in place that it's like, why are we doing that?
Yeah.
Isn't there a better way?
Yeah. I'm feeling that. It's like, that's been the best part of this.
Yeah. Weirdly. I feel very lucky and privileged to, not be completely hurting.
Well, your profession, I mean, speaking of which, your business and your personal work, I mean, Zeiss Digital, and then of course, just you working somewhere is like going to be more and more and more critical to the world. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think, there's the whole, the scary thought of robots are going to take our jobs. And, that's sort of been happening since the beginning of time, right? Everything's been automated. But, so my point is just that someone's going to have to caretake the robots, right? So if you're in that position,
not always. Have you read the book?
Good position to be good. Yeah.
I'm chapter 3. I'm 3 or 4 chapters into the book 'Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari.
Heard good things about it. Have not yet read it. I started listening to one of his other books, and there were some cool things in it.
Yeah,
which one
this is a audiobook, obviously, because I'm cleaning pools while reading. It's a little more productive than a comedy podcast.
Yeah.
So my mental diet. I'm like, okay, let me sprinkle some books into this because it's usually just podcasts and music all day. And I'm like, well, I learned things from Sam Harris and Eric Weinstein and from, of course, Joe Rogan and his guests and Sam Harris and all. I may have said those, but it's like I'm going to turn it up. I'm going to turn it up since I can. I've been thinking about it. I'm thinking, what can I turn up? And so in this book, it's in the first couple of chapters, which won't give away the book. Of course, I need to read more of it, but it gave excellent, compelling case for the argument against agriculture and the beginning of like the slow sweeping start of where it kind of crept into being, where people would be carrying, there was a natural field of wheat, they'd be carrying it back to their hut, and inevitably some of the seeds would fall out on the way, and then they were like, oh shit, there's seeds even closer, and we'll just get those. And then it's like all of a sudden they were farming, and it's like the slipped discs, the busted shoulders, the blown out hips and knees started with the agricultural revolution, because before that people weren't digging up boulders to build trenchways, they weren't hauling giant logs to try to defend. I mean, agriculture, you could almost say that the potatoes and the grains that feed the world actually they're harvesting humans, because we're breaking our backs to make the water work for them. We're breaking our backs to defend them from predators. We're breaking our backs to watch them. And it's like, there's this book I read my daughter every night. It's like Pancake. It's called Pancakes. And it's like an old school farm, like Middle Ages. A peasant lived way worse than hunter-gatherers 11 years before that. You know what I mean? It was like the hunter-gatherers had a way more diverse diet of like nuts, little berries, smaller animals. Sometimes they would hunt big game, but that was more rare. They're saying it was more like shrews, rabbits. That's what people ate mostly. Some fish. But the diets, the teeth, the gut health, the longevity, everything after plants took over and forced us to cultivate them has gotten worse. And so like this book, The Pancakes, the guy's like He has to harvest the wheat, and then he takes the miller, and then the miller grants it. Then he needs an egg. So he goes to the chicken and gives the chicken some seeds, and he gets the egg. But that's not enough. Then he has to do it to the cow. He has to milk the cow, and then he takes the milk to the cow, and there's mom makes a pan. It's like so many steps to eat something that's not good for you. It was crazy. Right. It's just like, what if there was a handful of almonds and a handful of berries and a bite of fish? You'd be much better than that pancake.
Yeah, it's funny. The more advanced society gets, the more we're inventing things that look like ancient things that we were using thousands of years ago. Like so, for example, the probably at one point in time we were walking around barefoot, right, as tribes in this forest, and then we sort of put leather on our feet to protect against thorns and things. Yeah. Then we get all cushy and comfy, and we have Nike Air with the little pump, with a pump in it, right? And then fast forward, and now it's like the Vibram basically mimicking a bare foot.
Yeah.
Just with a little bit of protection.
Right. A little bit under the ball of the foot, little under the heel of the foot. They come off and on quickly. They're water. It's like, yeah.
And then think about like another example would be stone tablet. So you have a stone tablet or like a slate tablet with chalk, right? One of the first writing implements is like you put writing onto stone. We have a tablet and a stylus. Fast forward, we have the iPad with a stylus.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, and think about the bicycle too.
Yeah.
I mean, 100 and some odd years, 200 years, something. Very little changes in its design. And it's almost like you can predict what's going to be around in the future just by looking into the past.
How far back?
I don't know. I mean, think about the fork, for example, which June is demonstrating.
Yeah, thank you, June.
No need to improve that for, thousands of years. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, like, if you think chopsticks, fork, and spoon, I don't know what else you would need to put things into your mouth. Those three tools.
I think Eric Weinstein.
Yeah, don't say the wrong one.
The Weinstein, he mentioned something like, if you want to know, like go into a bar and just subtract all the screens, and it's pretty much what it was like in, say, 1960. There's very little that's different.
Oh yeah,
like just remove all the TVs and like maybe the point of sale screens.
Yeah,
probably looks very very similar to something maybe even 100 years ago, right?
Maybe even more. Yeah.
So it's almost like you could predict the future by just subtracting things from the present.
Oh.
Something. I don't know. It's good.
Well, here's an important thing on that note is like a group of 150 people seems like they can do almost anything and they can stick together. When the group gets over 200 people, in past they would always split up. I think we're going to come back to that, and I think places, big cities like New York, Boston, San Francisco, are going to have to contend with not only the 150 person marker, but not just cities too, like corporations, all kinds of things are going to have to reckon with, like the 150 people. You can't really know or think about or talk about or gossip about more than 150 people.
Right.
And it's funny because
Dunbar number or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Something else about that would seem pretty critical to our advancement is gossip, which is something I've been against because I'd rather speak directly to whom which I'm gossiping about.
Yeah, but we need gossip.
But that's what it is. You need gossip. We have to talk shit about somebody.
Yeah, and traditionally it's been sort of like certain groups get together and share the community news, which acts as a sort of reinforcement mechanism for rules and mores in the society.
Yeah, it finds out the rule breakers and talks about them. It's like it's weird. Like the place we worked, Cafe Gratitude, there was a rule against gossip.
Right.
Remember, literally a rule against it. And I really enjoyed that rule because it was a lot of direct communication. So, like learning about how we are the only species that can gossip. And if you have more than 150 people, we actively can't gossip about them. And if you can't gossip about, you can't coexist, because you have to be able to have the systems of rules and who's breaking the norms. And
that's sort of the localism idea, right? Like,
yeah,
you have a local, like imagine if you knew everyone on the police force and they knew you, and they knew, like, you knew each other's families and everything. The dynamic would be way different.
Way different. Yeah. Speaking of
or
police,
if you had a fire brigade or whatever, or business.
I like that term.
Yeah. So and that's what the fire brigade lighthouses, I think, were built by people just out of necessity. That no one organized it. It was just like, we need these.
Yeah, you're gonna crash into the rocks over and over again if we don't have a lighthouse.
And I think the fire department too was originally just citizens banding together.
Yeah.
So that's the bottom up idea that I mentioned last week.
Okay. So just people realizing a need and they just organize it.
Yeah, looking out for your own sort of local community.
Yeah.
So at that level, it's sort of like socialism works, right? If it's a small little group. So you're in your family. This is I think Nassim Taleb idea. In your family, you're communist.
Yeah.
Everyone's sharing everything, or even like, but there's like a dictator or royalty or whatever.
There's a royalty in the household of communism, like the alpha mother or father.
Yeah, because there's an authority, right? The kids don't have authority over the parents, although you
hopefully not. That actually happens though.
And then at the city level, or at the village level, it's sort of socialist, where if someone's hurting, everyone knows that person, so they help them out. And then as you get bigger and bigger organizations of humans, sort of the political system can shift. So you have at the higher level than village, maybe you have a city where no one knows each other. So that maybe democracy is the best option there. Right. And then at the federal level, maybe libertarianism is the best option.
I wonder if this could be drawn into a picture. That sounds like a pretty cool image I can see in my head.
Where like states are like, yeah, just leave us alone.
Yeah. But then how do we organize something great like fighting off the Nazis as a country?
Yeah, you would still need high level things like roads, infrastructure.
Well, we need defense.
Defense.
I mean, internal and external. I think defense, the white blood cells are a requirement of society.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to get around that. I mean, violence is a huge issue.
Police. I mean, maybe we should take the moment to talk about the 5 purple elephants in the room.
Well, the one thing it's such an under-addressed problem is just the problem of violence in the world.
Yeah. Like
the big time sort of mechanisms behind violence. Like if you have state power and control, like whoever controls the violence sort of controls everything.
Yeah.
So that was the old world. That was the centralized world. In a decentralized world, the sort of the returns on violence start to plummet, and that's I think we're heading that way.
Okay.
It'd be nice to think that we're heading that way.
I wonder if we should shed any empathy and or imagination in the light of the recent angering of our country. Have you noticed this?
Yeah, let's shed it. It's weird because it's like people are rioting over the cop kneeling on the guy's neck.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about that, even though it's tragic and horrible, is that no one's really on the other side of that issue. Everyone is in agreement that was horrible.
Yeah. And that cop's in jail.
And it's sort of like, that's pretty awesome. Like we're all on the same side of that issue. There's no one on the other side saying that was a good thing.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, man. You're coming with the zingers today. That's some good thinking, because like I hadn't really thought about that. Yeah, no one's arguing like, well, the police had it. It's like, no.
Yeah, no one's like, well, I'm a racist, and that was a good thing. I mean, there probably are shitheads like that.
A few.
But, minuscule amount. So weirdly, there's like maybe a positive side to this.
That we're realizing we all agree that that's terrible and that it has to stop. But it's like, how do you?
Yeah, and that we're being agitated and fucked with.
Yeah.
Do you remember Russia collusion for 3 years?
I remember it.
That seems like 10 years ago, right?
But it was 4 months ago.
Right. Or impeachment, that seems like a distant memory.
Yeah, that
so
happened.
you have all these spectacles that just one after the other keep escalating in severity.
Yeah.
And, you know, you get the distinct feeling that you're being fucked with.
So do you, by that, can I hear, or do I hear that some of the coronavirus blow up seems a bit like fuckery from the government?
Seems that way. It's hard to know what's true.
Yeah.
But it's also hard to just think everything is coincidentally happening.
Yeah, and because Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
right.
There's nothing to see here, no investigation, no news coverage. Why would you bother?
Yeah, don't bother.
Jeffrey Epstein, mean the billionaire who was with all the political people?
Yeah, can't find his girlfriend.
Yeah, Eric Weinstein says.
Did you listen to his one on the construct, Jeffrey Epstein? It's awesome.
Yes, I think I did hear most or part of that one, the construct of Jeffrey Epstein, and how he was most likely an agent of the government that also had a pedophile problem. That's what he thinks. His biggest guess is that that's what was going on, which is like pretty hard to imagine. I think it was always the plan to kill Jeffrey Epstein at any point, and he is a construct by different entities, including himself, and it seemed like he was designed to get dirt and have dirt on everybody who was powerful, and he did it. And then he got in, and then something that we don't know about happened, and they had to kill him. Okay.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Final Corp. It'll be fine. Final Corp is the premier producer of products that you don't need, that are harmful and disturbing. Final Corp. It'll be fine.
Final Corp. It'll be fine.
Yeah, so it'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Wow. I haven't heard from Final Corp in a while. Do they have any new ad copy?
Oh, I've been needling their PR department trying to get something. So yeah, Jeffrey Epstein. Where were we before that?
Well, I think the point was just that he was
fuckery. Yeah,
it's fuckery. He's fuckery. I think that Bill, all the names of famous rich politicians who I wrote in his play 26 times.
Yeah.
That's good. A minimum of 26 times. I mean, hit the hottest chicks, if you know what I mean. You know, it's like, that's my Bill Clinton impression. It wasn't very good.
Started out good.
Yeah, it started out good. Then it lost. So that
sometimes
just means
impressions
fuckery.
are best when they're just short. But yeah, you get the distinct impression that you're getting fucked with. Sorry, go ahead.
This president, at first was like, it's a hoax. It's a hoax. And then he was like, oh no, it's serious. And then he's like, yeah, I'm taking drugs that are unsure to take. And then he's like, I'm not wearing a mask. Everyone's wearing a mask.
Right.
It's like he can't break character, and his character is just himself, pleasing himself to whatever degree, which sometimes
maybe so
is fine.
His character is pleasing himself. A little bit of mind reading there, but I don't totally disagree. But you get the sense that, wow, the news is bad for me.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like, maybe the news is actually responsible.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like for the
division and fuckery, like why aren't we seeing the whole video? Like, or where's the rest of this? Like, where's the context on either side of this story, whatever the story may be?
Yeah.
So you get a little inflammatory bit that they let you chew on and get pissed about.
Yeah.
And that way you're not thinking about, things like central banks completely raping us, and you're not
Right.
thinking about other things. They keep you distracted. And then,
Yes.
but then someone would say, well, that sounds like conspiracy theory, blah, blah, blah. To which I would say conspiracies are actually very common,
Yeah.
probably more common than coincidences.
Conspiracies?
Yeah,
I mean, maybe equally as common.
maybe equally, yeah.
Yeah, there's the conspiracy thing. It's just a word like the word feminism in the '60s was a curse word.
Yeah,
It was something you called people you didn't like,
right.
and they were bad people.
It's become a
But conspiracy
derogatory
theory,
term. Yeah,
yeah, conspiracy theory is a derogatory term. It really just means like people thinking of things idea. That's all that means.
right. People
Conspiracy
getting
is
together
people
and
getting
deciding
together.
to do something.
Yeah,
9/11 was a conspiracy. Yeah,
it certainly
it
was.
was, because a bunch of guys agreed
Conspired.
to hijack a planes.
Now the debate is: were any of those guys in American politics?
Again, another in a long line of things where probably never know the truth.
It's like not worth. It's not worth the energy of fighting. Right there, I was starting to moan. It's not worth the energy of trying to figure out because we probably won't easily. It's like the 9/11 truth thing.
Yeah,
It's like if we figure it out, it's gonna be in the 2040s, and after everyone's dead who was involved.
I mean, we're still arguing over JFK and stuff.
Yeah. Well, they've had to release some things about that, and there's been some investigations that show that most likely the FBI was involved in his death.
Mm.
Kind of looks like it. Because the Cubans, and he said no in the last minute,
right.
and they were going to war, and he was like, no war, and they're like, fuck you, so they killed him.
Well, recent events have shown that the FBI is totally corrupt and fucked.
Yeah.
So,
Did we ever think that wasn't the case? Like, I was raised on a steady diet of don't trust any of these organizations. They're the ones bringing in the drugs to the inner cities. They're the ones, taking money and calling it,
it's always been like not very credible because there hasn't been much evidence.
Yeah.
It seems like, but there's more evidence as as information everything's information, data is open. The more transparency there is, the more these fucking things come to light. But still, two movies on one screen. It's like you can both be watching the same events and have totally different interpretations of it.
Yep. Well, we have to.
So
How do we stop that? How do we bring the movies in focus?
I don't think there's a way to do that.
You don't think so?
I don't think we are equipped to understand what underlying reality really is. We just have our own filters and interpretations.
Agreed. We have no fucking idea. In fact, there's no evolutional success story to know what the actual truth of what is going on is. Evolution has proven that that's not necessary.
Right. We're not evolved to understand reality. We're evolved just to procreate. And so whatever worldview gets us to that point, I think.
Yeah. Whatever worldview. Sure. It's demons. Yeah. Just keep pumping them.
I mean, you can be, I think Scott Adams talks about this. He's like, you can be in the line in the grocery store. You could be a Satanist, person next to you, Christian. You're both buying groceries. You're both functioning in the world, raising families, blah, blah, blah. Which one is true? Does it matter?
Yeah. No.
Doesn't really seem to matter for day-to-day existence.
Especially for huge groups of people, because we can complain about the problems, but it's going remarkably well. Like you said, you go to a grocery store. Those people don't think the same thing.
Right.
You go to the post office, they don't think the same thing. And it's fine.
And the cool sort of implication of that is, and we know this from psychedelics, not that I would ever.
Why would you?
But we know this from psychedelics. That means you can just change your filter on reality.
Yeah.
Right? If you take mushrooms, you see like playing frisbee and you're like, wow, this frisbee looks like fucking something from another world, from another culture. But you still know how to use it, do things. That's sort of reality. You can just choose how you filter your reality and interpret it.
Wow.
So that means you can change it. So you can go from being a pessimist to an optimist. You can go from being Satanist to Christian, whatever.
It almost doesn't matter.
Almost.
Wow. That's cool. I like that.
What else we got?
Man,
Oh, Star Trek Picard.
Yeah. Did you watch all of it?
I didn't watch all of it. I started watching it.
You turned it off?
Dude, what the fuck is up with
Oh, you got to push through. Here's the problem.
It's so dark and depressing.
Did you see the ending?
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
Oh, I thought you said you gave up and you didn't watch all.
Well, I just gave up on on faith in Star Trek.
Oh, you gave up on liking it. Like you watched it, but you didn't like it.
No, I hated it.
Okay.
I mean, I like the characters. I wish the character of Captain Picard had been in it.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
There was another guy who was like some doddering guy who kind of looked like Picard, but he like didn't have the same personality or resolve or character.
Yeah, that's true. So
it is what it is.
But he's old. I think the point is that he's aged and he's softer now and he's less prickly. And so in the past, like you realize in the show, spoiler alert, everybody, he goes around apologizing to everybody during the whole show. The whole series is him apologizing. And it's like, okay, I get it. It's a little bit like, he's a little kind of signaling. What's that? The virtue signaling. It's a little like, oh, I bulldozed all these people, and I'm sorry. There's that was weird. What really weirded me out is that they just sort of made him immortal at the end, and we're like, yeah, no big deal. That was kind of he's immortal now.
Yeah, but immortal, but he's gonna be 80 forever. Like, couldn't you roll the clock back a little bit?
Yeah, give him 60. At least 60, you can still like throw a punch.
Yeah, give me something. I don't know. It was just so like just the cinematography, the set design, everything was dark, literally dark. Yeah. And then the storyline was figuratively dark. And then you had just lasers and action and like Star Trek was never an action show. It was more about moral quandaries and ethical dilemmas and how the power of human character. And it was always a world, even the darkness of DS9, it was sort of a world that you wanted to live in, or that would be pretty cool to live in. Yes. I don't want to live in the world of Star Trek.
Yeah, because in Picard, there's poverty again. Like, what happened to that? They regrew poverty.
Yeah,
that to me was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's like the writers didn't ever watch Star Trek.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's just so. Some things I love certain things in life, and some things I just am so cynical about.
Well, I agree with you, and I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, I enjoyed the show for some of the story, and like to add a little ending to that story is interesting to me.
Yeah,
but it's like, I don't know. I didn't mind the fighting. What was kind of weird was that they took like 4 episodes to build the crew, to like introduce you to the people who were going to be on the next 4 episodes.
Yeah.
And then it was over. It was like, why did we take a whole episode to add this person to the crew? And then we did it 3 more times in a row.
Yeah.
And then we could have just met them all in 2 episodes and gone the rest of the way. That would have been fun.
That would have worked if the characters were like had some depth, but they kind of didn't. I mean, remember Space Legolas? Like, what?
Yeah, Space Legolas.
That was like the dumbest thing.
His acting was bad, and he looked really weird. And is he like a Romulan? He's a Romulan monk?
Yeah, I think so. Romulan, yeah.
Was he Romulan? Because
or was he Vulcan? He had weird ears. But
it could have
Vulcans
been a
and
Vulcan.
Romulans.
Yeah, they're related. So it's same thing, different mama. But yeah, that was weird. He's like, I hope you. And his accent was like New Zealand or something.
Yeah, it just screams space Legolas. I don't know.
Yeah, well, he had the hairstyle where it was like it's pinned back here in the middle. And,
Yeah.
oh wait, it's not an arrow; it's a sword. That's right.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't have some kind of laser arrow. That actually would have been cool, maybe. Yeah, so that was Star Trek Picard.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even movie Picard. Movie Picard is like Bruce Willis in Die Hard, where he's just action man.
Yeah.
So it's like I haven't seen the TNG Picard since TNG ended.
Are other people mentioning this online? I don't know. I haven't looked around at like.
You should look at. It'd be cool if you looked at Red Letter Media did a Mr. Plinkett on Picard.
What's Mr. Plinkett?
Well, you know the Red Letter Media guys.
I think I've heard of them from you.
Okay. It's just like so. Mr. Plinkett is like one of their characters, and it's like this cranky old guy.
Oh, okay.
And he does movie reviews, and he did. It's not actually an old guy; it's just a character.
Okay.
So he's done like the Star Wars prequels.
Okay.
And I think he did some of the Star Trek movies. But yeah, he just analyzes the show and like rips it to shreds and said a lot of the things that I've been saying. Where it's wicked dark. It's not a world you want to live in.
It's not a world you don't. Yeah, I didn't really think about that. That's not really a world. At TNG, I want to live there. Even Deep Space Nine, even Voyager.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, the fact that they brought back poverty and like sowed tons of distrust between the Federation and like, it's like, okay. So the Federation's ruined, but it's only ruined because the Romulans are right that a horrifying race of robots is going to be drawn here from a distant galaxy if our robots can build the signal that all robots inherently have, even if you don't put it in them when you make them as people. And that's like scary and terrible. That if you make robots, they will summon the ultimate death robot because they're designed to find us and nuke us because we're bad. Like, that's like, whoa!
Yeah, there's some cool concepts in there.
There's no photon torpedoes that are going to solve that problem.
Meanwhile, in real life, we have Space Force.
Yeah.
Netflix is already like producing a show to mock it.
Yeah.
Which I find funny. But on that same point, SpaceX launched today.
Oh, I thought they delayed because of weather.
Today?
Yesterday.
Oh, maybe so.
Yeah, I thought I saw that they were going to, like, doing the test fire. They had the people in the suits, and they were going to do it, but didn't because of a weather delay.
Well, that happened on Wednesday, I know.
Oh, okay. Well, did it work today?
And they were like, we're going to try again Saturday. So it's today.
Oh, well, fucking A.
And
any news on the?
I love it.
Oops, you can probably hear that.
And Leland, you actually, we were.
Yeah, so they're trying again today, like in an hour.
Whoa, cool.
And God damn it, that rocket better work.
Yeah, I really hope it does.
It seems like if it does work, it would signal, even with all the other bullshit happening in the world, it would signal sort of the beginning of the golden age. Like, we're going back to space, baby. So I don't know. I'm pumped about it.
Yeah. What happens if it goes boom?
That'll be kind of depressing, I guess.
Yeah, we feel sad for a while, but he'll rebuild. I'm sure there's 2 others in production right now.
Yeah.
I think it'll work. I bet it'll work.
Yeah, they did one unmanned, which worked. But this is the first manned flight to the ISS.
That's cool. So then we'll be going back and forth all the time. I mean, way cheaper.
Yeah. It's like, it's kind of ironic, all this shit happening on Earth. I remember there was a story by one of the scientists or one of the astronauts first went to the ISS, and he was like, yeah, first day, because international crew there. The first day there, everyone was looking out the window and like pointing to their country, like, oh, there's Belgium, oh, there's Iraq, and there's Russia and stuff. And then like by like the third day, everyone was just like, oh, look, there's Earth, there's our home.
Mm.
It's like, nice.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to put you in more, like put things in more perspective than being in space, looking down on Earth.
Yeah.
Down.
And you're worried about like, oh, that's my patch of dirt. No, it's mine next. No, this is my patch of dirt. Well,
Yeah.
if you kind of look around it, you'll notice there aren't any other patches of dirt around. So maybe we should share that one.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so worried about pronouns.
Yeah.
Like,
No one
it
is.
just
It
fades into inconsequentiality.
Dude, there's no Shimzer coronavirus happening. It just.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about the trans coronavirus problem.
Oh, and I guess this is cool. I guess in space, because because of the vacuum, it's way easier to 3D print. So that like 3D printing organs way easier in space.
Oh.
Because of the lack of, schmutz that gets into the printer.
The gravity pulling in a direction. Yeah, if you had the low gravity,
Yeah.
you could. Yeah, it's like I
And
can
like
imagine that
no
being
particles to get, no foreign particles to get into the goop.
easier. Well,
So
then,
that's
so
cool.
we'll be shipping organs down from the ISS.
Yeah, hopefully.
Wow.
Just get a new kidney, get a new heart.
Some of your cells go
and
up.
it's your heart.
Yeah.
That's the fucked part, is that it's actually your heart. It's not someone else's heart.
So they'll scoop a couple cells off of your heart. They'll send it up in the ship. They'll be printing up rows and rows of printers going. Another ship will come down, bring that crop back. You
Yeah.
pop them in. Next team, fresh hearts.
And you could start a business, which is like backup organs. So you could pay this business to just have backups of things, of your organs. This is kind of a fucked up idea.
Wow. I could see, yeah, they do that for sperm and eggs. Why not for a heart and a liver?
Yeah. And the rejection rate by your body would probably be super low, because it's like, oh, this is just these are my cells. No problem.
That'd be weird if there was a few outlying cases that it did reject. It was like your lung, but it still was like, ah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of crap going on, but a lot of, I think, positive things that might.
Yeah, I mean, the golden age is not, I don't know. It doesn't look like one would think that it would look like.
Right.
It is weird how things are getting better or worse, better, worse, worse, better all the time.
Yeah. Constant yin and yang. They discovered Proxima B, which could potentially harbor life.
Proxima B?
Proxima B, which is only 4.2 light years away. And its proximity to its star means that it might have liquid water, which is a good thing.
Can we tell the elements on it through the spectrum, the lens? They can tell the elements. Does it have like the good ones?
Yeah, I think it's in the Goldilocks zone where it has an atmosphere, can have liquid water.
4.2 light years.
4.2
Let's go.
light. So I crunched the numbers on this. I think it was the Apollo capsule in the 60s reached 40,000 mph. We probably can go faster than that, but using that as a baseline, it would take us about 17,000 years to get to Proxima B.
Oh, okay. So it's a bit of a skip.
But if you could just be accelerating half of the trip and then decelerating half the trip, that might speed things up. Or if you had like an ion drive or solar sail.
Then weren't they talking about having something like that coming out now in some Joe Rogan episode not that long ago, that like not warp drive, but like we would have to build it up there at the space station, but they're talking about that's coming.
Yeah, because you could I think there's something called the solar sail, because so photons from the sun actually have force behind them, but it's minuscule.
Yeah.
So if you have a large enough surface, you're just gathering the forces from all these little photons. And first couple of years, you don't see any, maybe see very small acceleration, the exponential curve. But then over time, you would just be accelerating.
Huh. Well, but does it drop
Take a long
the further the way you get from the sun?
Yeah, but there's no resistance because it's a vacuum. So if you accelerate to a certain acceleration, you'll just be at that acceleration.
Yeah.
Until you hit something or you slow down.
Huh.
But yeah, the photon gets weaker and weaker as you go from the sun.
Well, you could probably, I'm sure you could arrange it to go from star to star, right?
Right, like slingshot, because you could use gravity to slingshot yourself. Then you use a solar sail and maybe some kind of ion drive. I'm not sure how that works, but.
Well, if you could go 80,000 mph.
Right.
Is that like.
Get you down to like 8,000
10,000 years? Yeah, 8,000 years, 10,000 years. Okay.
Yeah.
If we had a colony that could go for 10,000 years in a spaceship and they'd reproduce and the offspring would get there, they would be strange mongoloid, sloppy, slimy little boogers that got there.
Yeah.
All right, hold on a second. One of the babies is yelling.
How's the garden? What do we got going on in the garden?
Fucking stellar. It's huge. It's green. There's been some shifts. There's like, we took out some plants that weren't doing so good. The soil was too hot and cooled it off. We got a bunch of cannabis. With my barrels I had, we cut them in half. Now cannabis plants are in them. We put them in yesterday.
Wow.
Let's just set up some sprinkler. We have soaking hose in the raised bed. We got the sprinkler system for that other circular area. We did a bunch of shit, a bunch more shit coming. Our garden's looking crazy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you still making tej?
I haven't made tej in.
Or brewing anything?
Yes, I am brewing things.
Didn't you get some? You got some attachment for the row brew?
That's right. I also got some delicious malt. And last weekend, when Adam came over, you saw Adam, we brewed the whiskey mash. So it's just about done fermenting in the garage right now. And that thing bubbled like a moef. We did a super sugar, super barley, thick syrup delish. And we, did champagne yeast. And it was like, like it was pushing this stuff out of the bucket. So it's probably like 12% or so now. And the thought is a week from today, we're going to get the distiller going, pop it up. It takes all day. So you have to drink while it's happening. But you get jars and you label them beforehand to make sure you lose the poison. Then you have the heads, the hearts, and the tails, and you blend them later. I've been doing my research, but we're fermented, and next week we'll be distilling.
So what's the end product? Whiskey? Yes. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have whiskey here. It'll be clear, crystal clear when it comes out, and it'll come out at like 60% alcohol. So what I'll do is I will we'll throw away whatever isn't taste good. We'll blend in whatever heads and tails are good, and we'll add some distilled water to bring it up to like a gallon and a quarter prop loose. These are kind of guesses, and then from there, we put some on oak chips. We put oak chips in there, and then it starts to get brown, and you can drink it like within a week.
That's how they get the brown. Is the oak chips?
Yeah. Well, they put it in barrels usually.
I always thought it was like just poop.
Yeah, just like fly poop or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the challenge with the podcast, any podcast, is like you have to have like content or guests or So I'm digging sort of the shorter form on this,
Yeah,
the one that we're doing,
I hear that.
where it's like hour.
Mhm.
It's good, but
It's not
you
as
know,
it's better on Zoom to be like an hour. I think if we tried to do like 2 or 3 hours on Zoom, it would be. It's
Yeah.
hard. It doesn't transfer as well.
yeah,
I agree. Like the hour mark for the Zoom, it's workable. But again, if I'm like watching two babies, it's like the show's cuter, but I'm less able to like zone in. But
That's all right.
yeah, I want to keep doing this, and I want to make it even cooler. And yeah,
Cool, man. All right, should we?
yeah. Let's call that positive. Let's say goodbye to Willow. She's like staring at you.
Willow.
Hi. You want to say bye, Junie? Junie
There's
wants to
like-
say bye.
Everything is like new in that environment.
Here? Yeah. Oh,
Like to a baby's eyes, like everything is a
oh,
fresh experience.
that's true. This is all new. Junie, can you say say bye bye to Aubrey? Bye bye.
Hey, bye.
Let's do this real quick. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right, man. See you next week.